Welcome back to New Harvest Farm here in central Mozambique. So as you can see today, we're in our new little vegetable patch here. It is the season to start working on this. We are wrapping up our row crop season now. So we're doing the corn harvest. We've harvested the black-eyed peas. We still have a bit of soy coming. We still have some beans that hopefully will survive until harvest. But it is the season to start thinking about veggies. Now last year, we ended up doing quite a lot of vegetable production, which was not in our original plan. Our original plan was to focus more on row crops and do development of the farm last year. But with the cyclone, all of our ideas got blown away, and we ended up just focusing on producing food because we knew that there was going to be some food shortages because of the cyclone and the destruction that it had. And so we went pretty well full bore into the vegetables last year, which is a time to experiment for us. We pretty much tried everything, every seed I could find we threw in the ground. We wanted to know what could grow here, what our limitations were, what people were willing to eat. And so we found out a lot last year. We found out some things grew really well, like turnips, but then nobody wanted to eat them. Only the rats really wanted them, so things like that don't really have a lot of value. So we were able to find the things that grew well and were really something that people wanted as a food source. So we're narrowing the things down this year. We're going to focus mostly on cabbage, collard greens, mustard greens, onions, tomatoes, some very basic things like that. And again, this year it was not our idea to do a lot of vegetables. We're still working on doing a lot of infrastructure here at the farm. I wanted to focus more on that. But now, of course, the world seems to be turned upside down with the coronavirus, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the future. Even here, we've been extremely fortunate. The Lord has had a lot of grace on us yet that there hasn't been much here. There's only a few cases here in Mozambique, but we don't know what the future is going to bring. A number of our neighboring countries are shutting down, and Mozambique is a country that depends a lot on imports, so we don't know what the food availability is going to be like. Plus, if we go into some kind of shutdown here in Mozambique, people live hand to mouth. People can't store up food for 14 days. So our hope here is that no matter what happens here in the immediate future, at least we'll be able to provide some healthy food for our local community. So in order to do that, we need to make the best use of what we have here. And for us this season, that means doing vegetables. So that's what we're up to. We've planted a few things. We're just getting started. Have a lot of seed beds going, starting to transplant now into our growing beds. But what I'm excited about this week is that last week Friday we installed a drip irrigation system. Now this is something that I've wanted to do since we began here, something we always used on the farm. It was a huge time saver for us, but last year I couldn't find the supplies to do it. We didn't really have the infrastructure set up yet. So we spent, I cannot imagine how many thousands of man hours hand watering everything last year just with a watering can. And it was tiring, and it was not very successful, I would say. We had a lot of crop loss. We had a lot of reduction in production of our vegetables just because we weren't able to reliably keep everything watered. And that had to do also with the weather. We went, I'd say, about 6 months last year without getting a drop of rain, which was a bit extreme. And this year already we've had a major reduction in rain over the past month, so we're not sure what's going to happen this year. But in order to help us this year, we really needed to get this drip irrigation going. So I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work, but I'm very, very happy with how it's going so far. So we're able to get this installed. As you can see, here we have some cabbages in the ground, and the drip line is dripping well. We're going to go along and we're going to mulch all these like we have done with this row, which we really think will help a lot with our overall production this year. And it will save us a huge amount of man hours, which we'll be able to use in other areas and hopefully continue to expand this. So right now we just have set up a few zones. We have some collard greens, we have our cabbage here, we have some lettuce that we're going to hook up here early next week. But the whole beauty of this system here, and why we've actually opened up this whole area, this was not one that we really used last year for production, but the reason why we're doing it is because we are able to do all of this irrigation without any mechanical help. So no pumps, no gasoline, no solar, nothing. And that is because we have a very unique feature. We have a few of them on this farm, but we have some very unique water features here. We have some natural springs. So there's one here that's just up a little bit from this area that we're cultivating here. And this, we've kind of been watching it since we took over the farm, and a very unique thing. Water just seems to bubble up from the ground. There seems to be a high level of clay in the ground which keeps the surface water from penetrating or doing something, but all year round, through the rainy and dry season, this never dries up. So last year we had dug a little pond here we used for watering, and this year, with the idea of using this for drip irrigation, we really wanted to expand it. So I was out here last week with the trusty old Kubota backhoe, and we dug ourselves, doesn't look like much now, but we have this little retaining pond back here which we've dug, and this whole area, as you can see, it's just swampy. Water just runs out of it. It's not useful for any agriculture. The only thing that I've done here is get the tractor stuck. So what better thing to do than to dig a pond and hold some water? So just with this little bit that we've dug out here, I figure we have about 30,000 liters of water that we've stored up. The idea is that we'll bring this wall up here about another 2 feet probably, and we'll continue to dig out in this area here. We'll end up with a really nice big irrigation pond. And all of this is uphill from this whole area that we hope to use for vegetable production this year. So we're gonna open this all up, we're gonna plant vegetables all the way down to where we are down there. And hopefully all of it will be able to put on drip, which means a huge amount in savings of man hours, because we'll also be able to inject directly liquid fertilizer. We really believe that this is going to give us some great vegetable production here, because the land is fertile. It's just not always easy to use. So that's our hope for this year. We hope and pray that this all works out, because as I mentioned before, we're in uncertain times, but the one certainty is that people need to eat, and it's a way that we can continue to reach out to our local community to provide healthy food right here in the local neighborhood. So I want to thank all of you that continue to support this project. We could not do it without you. We are doing our best to be a light in the community, to provide training, to provide good, healthy food, and to do it all in the name of the Lord. Once again, if you want to keep up with what's happening here at New Harvest Farm, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will do our best to keep you all informed of what's happening. So thank you again for all that you make possible here at New Harvest Farm.